Hello once again, individuals, and welcome to another episode of the Kerbal Space Program. My name is Flabbert. Kerbal Space Program 0.90 is out. It's now in beta. I'm so very happy. And today I am going to go ahead and start a brand new series. I haven't gone through the entire career mode as much as I possibly could, so I'm thinking of going through that while simultaneously trying to make all of my rockets as aesthetically pleasing as possible. I even have a name for it. It is the ASP, or the Aesthetic Space Program. I feel rather clever for coming up with that, a little bit more than I should. Anyway, let's get to work and see what we can come up with, alright? Here we go! Oh, look! Gene Kerman is giving me a welcome. Nice to meet you. This is the Space Center, right? Okay. So, wow, this is kind of an empty place at the current time, which I suppose that's not really that much of a big deal because, well, our Space Center is still new, but look at that mission control building. I don't think that you could fit more than like 4 Kerbals in there. My goodness. All right, let's go over there. Of course, one of the Kerbals there is Gene. I'm going to launch a new vessel and set an altitude record of 5,000 meters because I think I can only have 2 contracts. Yeah. Okay, well, let's go ahead now and go to the vehicle assembly building and build our first masterpiece. And here is our first rocket. I named it Rocket 1 because when it comes to naming things, I lack creativity. It's got 24 parts, its mass is 7.4 tons, and it should probably be enough to get us far beyond the requisite 5 kilometers and back safely with no part loss. Let's go ahead, save this thing, and then get out onto the pad, shall we? Let's go ahead and get this thing up into the air and hopefully up to 5 kilometers. 3, 2, 1, and we're off. Ah, very nice. I can go ahead and throttle down a good fraction of the way. Yes, Jeb, look at you. You're in the air. You're very happy as always. I'm going to go ahead and get another crew report from Kerbin Shores and transmit that. And then it is just time to sit back, relax, enjoy the view, and see how high up we can get. Alright, we're at the apex of our flight. I got some data from Kerbin's grasslands, and now it is time for Jeb to begin heading down again. I do want to turn off that SAS because we don't have a ton of electric charge left. Look at you, Jeb. Aw, you're so happy. I would be happy too if I was in your place making this historic first flight and shattering all sorts of records and such. On the landing! In 3, 2, 1, and we're down. And there was a bit of a wibble-de-wobble, but fortunately enough, we landed on precisely the right axis, so we can go ahead and get Jeb out for an EVA just above Kerbin's grasslands, and then we can go ahead, take that data, take just a little bit more data here, and that is our first mission. What a great mission. Alright, I'm going to recover this vessel. Yes, Rocket 1 got 4 experiments recovered. We have 31 science now. That's a pretty good science load. We have 97 or 98% recovery value, which is great. And for crew, of course, Mr. Jebediah Kerman with 1 XP gained. Let's go ahead and see what we can get with that science. Alright, let's see what sort of contracts we can get. Set an altitude record. I want to do that. And escape the atmosphere. That sounds like a good plan as well. Gene Kerman is happy, saying, excellent. Hopefully this one will turn out alright. I hope so too, Mr. Gene. Oh, you're cute. Alright, so now it's back to the vehicle assembly building. And it is time to make a new and more aesthetically appealing rocket. Presenting the Aesthetic Space Program's second launch, the aptly named Rocket 2. This guy is better than its older counterpart in every single way. It actually has 3 stages and it's just brushing up against the parts limit and the mass limit both, although the size is well within rational limits. So let's go ahead and save this thing, take it out to the pad, and see how good of a launch we can get, whether or not we will be able to propel Rocket 2 into the cold, dark abyss of space. 3, 2, 1, we have ignition. Ah, very nice. And liftoff. I can immediately go ahead and observe some mystery goo. Yeah, so the goo jiggles and wobbles as the craft flies. That's some pretty good data. I'm going to keep that. And it is now time to just go ahead and wait for this thing to ascend further and further into the cosmos. I'm going to go ahead and thrust limit this middle LVT-45 engine so that it will be able to consume as little fuel as possible as these other two engines propel this thing into the sky. This is quite a nice launch, and look, there's the moon right there. Hi, moon. Jebediah is very, very, very happy about this entire thing, but then again, he's kind of very happy about everything. Yeah, we're going a little bit fast, but that should be fine. So, it is time now to decouple those boosters, and there they go. Wow! That actually worked more or less exactly how it was supposed to. I'm kind of surprised. We have achieved burnout. It's time to look in the map view. Ooh, this thing isn't as sophisticated as it would otherwise be. I think that that's because the tracking stations aren't quite up to par yet. So let's go ahead and observe that final dollop of mystery goo. The goo seems to have clumped into a sphere. It also appears to have become brittle. Poor goo. I'm going to get a crew report as well, and that nets us a full 5 science. I suppose that we can transmit that. There's no real loss in it. And we can just take a moment to appreciate the beauty of Kerbin below and the curve of the horizon. The first time that any Kerbal has ever experienced this as we approach our 80-kilometer apoapsis and then begin to descend. Very nice flight as always, Jeb. Yeah, look at you. You're very happy about all this. Well, this might actually be a bit of a hard landing. I am slightly worried about how well this engine will be able to take it. I'm not entirely sure what its impact tolerance is, but nonetheless, I can remain hopeful as our small rocket descends towards the ground, and at most will lose the engine. I don't think that the fuel tank will also go, and we will have all of our scientific data intact, which is the most important part. Look! Everything is intact. The thing has fallen over, but that's alright. Well, it's time to recover the vessel, see what we learned, and call it a day. We got all sorts of reputation. We got a lot of science. We have a total of 64 science now, as well as a fair amount of funds returned. And of course, Mr. Jebediah got recovered and is now safely back on planet Kerbin. Well, I suppose that is it for this video. Have a wonderful day, individuals. Like, favorite, subscribe, and share, please. And I will see you next time with another episode of the Kerbal Space Program. Peace!